Good evening and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting for March 12th, 2019. It is approximately 7 p.m. If you'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor Griesbach?
Here.
Mrs. Gatos?
Here.
Mr. Poach?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Johns?
Here.
Mr. Osinko?
Here.
Mr. Duncan?
I am here.
Mr. Wilson? Mr. Little?
Here.
Mr. Ratcher?
Here.
Ms. Rock?
Here.
Mr. Hugus?
Here.
Mr. Sedlak?
Here.
Mr. Weldon?
Here. We're going to open it up for public comment on agenda items only, proposed agenda items only. Is there anyone here to comment on agenda items?
Who's on the agenda?
I signed up.
You just state your name for the record.
My name is Gary English, and I'm speaking in regards to agenda item B3. I have some handouts for council.
And are you a Monroeville resident, sir?
No, I am not, sir, but it's very important. I hope that you will do it, since certainly you have the ability to afford public comment. As my congressman, who has done a grave disservice to his constituents.
Well, we'll stop right there. You can hand in what you have there. However, this
You just have to hand the
this
whole
is a
thing in.
public meeting for Monroeville residents.
Thank you.
But we will certainly hand out and distribute your paperwork to all of council. But I'm sorry, I can't have you speak at this time.
I understand your policy. I would respectfully disagree with policy if, in fact, a member of
No,
society.
that is our policy, and I
And
appreciate you understanding our policy. It's for Monroeville residents only, so.
But if, in fact, someone is a contributing member to Monroeville businesses, there is a nexus or connection, and therefore I ask for that waiver.
Are you a property owner in Monroeville?
No, but I do pay taxes in Monroeville every time I shop.
Oh, no.
No. That's
So
a
does
sales
everybody
Sorry.
tax.
No.
We will certainly, I will make sure that all of your information gets passed on. If you would like to contact us, you can email all of council and myself, and we can hear your comments that way.
Okay, then I would, in my parting comment as I sit here and watch you go through the meeting, is I would hope that you would table agenda item B3 until the information that I've passed out is considered.
Thank you. It's please. Let's start that over again. Is there anyone here, any Monroeville resident here, to comment on any of the proposed agenda items? Seeing none, we're going to close that portion of the meeting. We have an executive session announcement. The council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to Citizens Night, March 7th, 2019, beginning at 6:15 p.m. until 7 p.m. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's March 12th, 2019 council meeting. Council, on our Citizens Night, we went over the minutes of the Citizens Night meeting of February 7th, 2019, the council work session of February 7th, 2019, and the regular council meeting of February 12th, 2019. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Council, is there any comments or additions, corrections? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Osinko? Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Moving over to our tax collections, seeking a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Osinko?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. List of bills and budget transfers. Council, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments or questions, council? Seeing none, motion to approve.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Osinko?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And payroll report. Is
So
there,
moved.
We have a motion and a second. Comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And once again, all these items were discussed publicly at our Thursday, March 7th meeting. Council, we're going over to our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities. Mrs. Gatos, we'll start with you this evening. Do you have anything?
I have one, Mr. Dan Gerhardt, for the one-year term on the Pollution Control and Flood Reduction Board of Appeals.
Is that that's a nomination?
Nomination.
We have a-
Second.
There's a motion and a second of a nomination. Mr. Gerhardt, one-year term.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
That's all.
That's all for this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Poach?
Yes, I have a nomination for Mr. Joe Story for the Pollution Control and Flood Reduction Board of Appeals as well for the 3-year term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the 3-year term for Mr. Story. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Anything else, Mr. Poach?
No, sir.
Mr. Harvey?
Nothing.
Mr. Johns?
Yes, sir. I would like to nominate Edward Deal for his 2-year term for the Pollution Control and Flood Reduction Board of Appeals.
Second.
There is a motion and a second for Mr. Deal for the 2-year term. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Anything else, Mr. Johns?
No, sir.
Mr. Arasenko?
None.
Mr. Duncan?
I have nothing.
Council, we're moving over to our consent agenda, our new business 18-10-ST. Mr. Little.
Yeah, this is on Hutton Street, Zip Car Wash. Applicant is requesting a site plan approval to construct a car wash and associated site amenities. Property is located at the intersection of Plaza Drive and William Penn Highway, Route 22, known as parcel 1244L72 in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. The Planning Commission has recommended approval for the site plan.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments or questions, council?
None.
Paul, everything's good? Or
I'll
Paul?
pass it off to the other Paul.
Well, there's too many Pauls, but Paul.
Yes, everything is good.
Did we work out the fire protection issue?
They're still working on it, but don't foresee that being an
slow down.
obstacle that we can't overcome.
Okay, so we can still go ahead, move forward then?
It'll
Keep
be
the
part of the
project-
conditions of approval in their approval letter.
Perfect.
Very good. Any other questions or comments, council? We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, the next one is the same applicant, Zips Car Wash. It's for a conditional use. We had the public hearing last Thursday during the agenda-setting meeting. Applicant requests a conditional use approval pursuant to Section 401 of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a car wash. Property is located at the intersection of Plaza Drive and William Penn Highway, parcel 1244L72 in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. Planning Commission recommends approval with conditions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments, council?
I just, Mr. Weldon, they, I assume, are coordinating this with Marysville because part of their property's in Marysville, right?
Correct. They've already been through at least one round of meetings with Murraysville. I don't believe they've received an approval yet, but it is pending as well.
That's all I have.
Very good. Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our motions, council. Mr. Little.
Motion to advertise the rescheduling of the April Citizens Night and Council Work Session from Thursday, April 4th, 2019 to Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Comments?
And this is to reschedule for
7 Springs.
the Seven Springs thing, which
Yes.
I'm not going to. Okay, very good.
Motion and a second to approve. Any other comments, council? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, a motion to void the current 2017 police civil service eligibility list.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments?
This is basically what we were told is a housekeeping item that you can't have two lists going at the same time.
Correct.
Just for the public's knowledge, if anyone didn't hear that from Thursday.
Any other comments, council? Yes, sir. We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a motion to lease office space, 170 square feet in the municipal building from March 1st, 2019 through January 2nd, 2021 to Congressman Michael Doyle for $150 per month.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments, council?
I do. We've done this for other congressmen, isn't that correct?
Yes.
That's my only question.
Yeah, Representative Murphy had a presence here for some time,
Quite a while.
quite a while. And now that Mr. Doyle's, Congressman Doyle's territory is now all of Monroeville, his office wanted to have a presence here. Any other comments or questions, council? We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a motion to obtain a local government academy intern to share with the Borough of Churchill and the Township of Wilkins for the Joint Comprehensive Plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments, council? I'd just like to share, Mr. Little, you said this would be split three ways. This
Correct.
fee, and it's
Cost of
approximately
$800.
$800 will be a cost to Monroeville. Very good. I think it's a
Well
Good
worth
deal.
it.
very, very good deal.
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second to approve. Any other comments, council?
No, sir.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a motion to permit ESCNR to have doorstep hazardous and electronic waste recycling through appointment.
Maybe we should explain that before.
Yes.
Yes, let's get a motion first. Is there a
Motion.
motion to approve?
Second.
And a second. So it's discussion. There's a question?
Yeah, as everybody knows, the recycling industry is become very difficult, and getting rid of electronics and getting rid of hazardous waste such as paint and turpentine and those things. We have approximately 3 events every year at the Public Works facility where you can take those items and be charged for it. Well, now ECSNR has said that they will come to your doorstep and they will weigh whatever you have, and you'll be paying the same price as if you went to the Public Works event, but they will come to your door. And this, you'll be able to register either by calling, either by registering through online on their website, or we'll have a link on ours. And their representative told me they would have to get approximately 40 households together, and usually at a community this size, it's about once a month. They register, they get approximately 40, and then they will come out here for a day or two, and they will go to each house, and they will collect electronic and hazardous waste. So that's the gist of the program.
Mr. Little, will they let the people know that have signed up in case there's not enough, say, for that particular month, that when they are coming, if maybe they have to wait till the next month
Well, they'll be notified when
of when it's going to occur?
they're going to come out.
And this could be very beneficial to elderly people that can't get out or, pick up a large item to be able to take or don't have a vehicle to put it in. So I think it could be very beneficial to the community.
They're starting the same program in the city of Pittsburgh. In fact, I think they started it in January. Same company.
Very good. Any other questions or comments, council? We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our resolutions, council. Mr. Little.
Okay, a resolution adopting the Sandy Hill Development Sewage Planning Module.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, a resolution, second resolution is a resolution authorizing the distribution of grant funds for the Memorial Day Parade in the amount of $5,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a resolution authorizing the distribution of grant funds for the Monroeville Independence festivities in the amount of $12,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinigo?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a resolution authorizing the advertising for bids for the 2019 road resurfacing program for the attached list of roadways throughout Monroeville.
Motion?
There's a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. Any comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like council to consider, and I've checked through the manager's office, that this would be feasible to add another $500,000 to the road resurfacing program, which would take this kind of, we'd have to rescind that if everybody agrees. But we need to keep going forward like we did last year. The manager says that this would definitely be affordable and worth it because of improving our roads, and it would certainly add to the road resurfacing program. So I would like to make, I guess at this point, I would ask council if they're in favor of the extra $500,000, that we'd have to take that
I
off
am.
the table.
I am.
I am, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I also have a comment on that.
Go ahead.
Josie, what is our fund balance right now currently?
Oh, I don't know.
Tim, do
I'd
you know
have
off
to
the top
look
of
it
your
up.
head?
Well, not off the top of my head.
But
I mean, I'd rather not say, okay, until I get you a pretty good figure.
Well, because what I'd like to do, the same as we did for this year, I'd like that, not 500,000, but $1 million, because we are so far behind on our road repair. This is, without public safety and road repair and keeping our communities and our roads safe, what are we doing up here?
Mr. Arasinko, the only reason why I said $500,000 is because after investigating today that there was extraordinary amount of funds coming up that we're going to have to pay for, like the renovation of our roof and the heating and HVAC system above our heads and things like that. So that stuff is still out there floating on the table waiting for funding, and that is why I said $500,000.
And I get that, but there's also a funding stream coming in from the pool. Am I not correct? That we could use for infrastructure.
We don't know when that fits, though, Greg. I mean, when is that?
That's not finalized.
That's not finalized or due yet.
I also have a question.
You don't want
Mr.
to put the
Duncan.
cart before the horse.
Did we not take $1 million out to start up the MS4 out of our general balance?
Yes, sir.
So now we're asking for, if we go with Greg, another $1 million? So that'd be $2 million out of our
But the
fund
MS
balance?
MS4 will be paying back
would be
the money.
paid back.
Understandable, but that money only goes to MS4 projects.
Correct.
So they'll pay back, hopefully they will, they'll pay back that $1 million, and we're asking for another $1 million?
It's just 1 million then.
Well, not only that, but that
Well, it's
million.
not paid back yet.
No,
That's my
agreed.
point.
No, I agree.
So we're drafting $2 million out of our fund balance. Hey, so be it.
Well, could we maybe back up a second here? So we have Mr. Harvey suggesting 500,000.
I mean, I'll go with
why
the
don't we-
majority. I'm just throwing that out there just for this fact is, everybody sitting up here and watching on TV and hearing this audience knows, we have a lot of road repair to
And I
get done.
don't disagree with you, Mr. Arcinigo, but as Mr. Harvey stated, when there's other capital improvement projects that we also need to consider, that have come up, and we don't have that put into our budget already, then maybe we need that extra money as well to.
And I'll concede on it, but like I
So
said,
let's
if
go
we
with
get
the half.
extra, I would like to see us put it into
I have no problem.
infrastructure.
Correct.
And one other comment on that, if we can.
Go ahead,
to
Mr.
add
Coach.
to Mr. Arcinigo, is, this is the second year in the row we guessed less. in the budgetary process. So let's take the lesson learned. And if the extra $500,000 moves us to 1.5 total towards road resurfacing, roughly, am I in the same ballpark based upon didn't we put $1 million this year already?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
This
the
puts you
million
at
this year was
1.5.
800,000 the year prior to
Right.
that. So lesson learned, next year's budget, start at 1.5.
If we can do that, I'm good.
I mean, wouldn't this
I want to
come,
get caught up.
wouldn't this come to resolution 4? Advertising for bids?
That's what we're talking
Well, we're
about right now.
talking in general
Okay,
conversation.
so we jumped ahead a little bit.
No, no,
Well,
no.
No, no,
But we
It's
had
just a
to
discussion
make
on
the
it,
motion
Steve,
to
yeah.
have a discussion.
And now we
Mr.
have to
Duncan.
act on the
Yeah,
motion.
there's a motion and a second to approve item number 4, which is the resolution to authorize the advertising of bids. Within that discussion.
I
within
guess
the-
part of my discussion would be, Paul, you're the one that sets this sheet up, am I correct?
Correct,
Or your department?
correct.
Okay. Just,
So, Mr. Ratcher, what would we do? Do we rescind the motions or how do we do that to up the money to 1.5?
The existing motion, or the existing resolution has $1 million in it roughly.
Yes,
You want to add 500,000.
yes.
I'd make a motion to amend,
Just to make
to
it,
add the extra $500,000 with the proviso that it be, if you choose, that the additional roads be selected according to the same process that's used for,
okay, should I
the other
then
road.
rescind, should I ask?
you don't need to
withdraw?
rescind it, just amend your motion.
Okay.
Amend, whoever made the motion can amend.
I did, I'll make a motion to amend the motion to 1.5, as per Mr. Harvey's request.
and I have a question.
One
We have
moment.
to second this.
Wait, one moment, yeah.
I'm
one
not
moment. So
seconding.
I just want to make sure. So we have a motion, you're amending your motion to
To-
1.5.
To 1.5 is Mr.
And now,
Harvey's request.
council, you have a list of roads in front of you.
Let's vote on the amended motion.
We have to,
Do we,
Vote on the amendment.
we have to vote, we have to get a second on the
Right.
revision
Get a second
first.
and vote on the amendment, and then you can talk.
I'll second it.
Okay,
I
there.
think I can come into question now, correct?
I have one more before, just one moment. I just want to make sure we got this all straight. Because now we're also going to be amending the road list.
Correct.
Correct.
Is that part of her motion?
I believe it was intended to
Yes.
be, but let's hear from her.
It is.
Okay, so you're.
I agree.
That's what I was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, Mr.
And that
Hughes will
is,
take care of
that
that
is
in
per
his staff.
Mr. Yugas's recommendation out of his office.
Right, I mean, obviously, there's a methodology of how we come up with a list of roads.
Right, so you're going to amend that to add another $500,000 worth of
That's
street
what your
work.
wishes are.
Yes, that's my.
So we have a
wish.
motion and a second. Mr. Duncan.
To amend.
Oh, I get to ask my question. My question was just that. There's $1 million on the table now, and here's the list.
Correct.
Okay. Whether it's fair or square or whatever, I'm going to go along, because Paul's very educated in this source, on what streets need done. Now we're adding another 500,000, so there'll be a revised list before we vote.
No, no.
We have
not
Before we vote.
First.
We have to authorize them.
No, so we're just going to vote, and then whatever happens, happens with
No,
that
then
other
he'll-
500,000.
And he'll submit the
He'll
list.
submit the
right.
list.
Mike, this is what
Yeah,
I'm,
let's
this is what I'm
kind of
surmising here.
That's why I'm at,
before
I
the
know
horse a
what
little
you're
bit.
trying to say here. So
We're going to revise the list using our current methodology and still stick with the schedule of having it in front of you in May with the bid openings. So, because we don't want to postpone this another month, because we'll be
Correct.
behind schedule.
All you're doing is advertise, all you're doing is making a motion to advertise, is all you're doing, but the amount of money of what you're advertising is basically, as Mr. Ratcher said, is what the amendment is, but as far as the list of the roads, that will be incorporated in, and you will get a new list of roads that will be added at next month's meeting. You'll have it before next month.
And I'm all in favor of infrastructure, believe me. I have no issues with that. And I feel it's a good move, but I just don't understand the way it's being presented. It should have been brought up at budget time or whatever. But all of a sudden, we come down to a vote for $1 million. Now we want to make it $1.5 million, but so be it.
I think we did the exact same thing
It
last
should have been,
year.
I know, but
Mr.
that
Poach-
doesn't mean that it was right.
Say to-
Yes, Mr. Poach
Maybe
is
fix
right.
it.
We should have started higher.
Just start higher.
Yeah.
Well, last year, you actually.
You know, we
did
should have
it.
lived and learned last year,
We
but
should
whatever.
have, but hopefully we
Do
did
what we
learn
got to
this
do
year.
here, guys. I'm in favor of infrastructure.
Last year, it was added on at the time of the bid openings.
Oh.
Which really put us in a bad way, because we didn't have a lot of time to forecast all the repairs.
was last
that needed to
minute.
be done. It was a last minute, yes,
So
Steve.
this is better. Next year
Oh,
will be even
absolutely.
soon
Now we
better.
can-
This is a minute before last minute.
Right, we can incorporate it and
So
forecast
next year
better.
we'll be 5 minutes ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Can we
So
vote
we
now?
will, and once again, we will get council will get to see all the roads that we'll be voting on this year and that'll be repaired. And not to belabor it more, but if you could, Mr. Hugus, give us a very brief, or the public at least, the methodology, the PASER scoring, and things of that, how these
We,
things are.
we use what's called a PACER score, which is the Pavement Service Evaluation and Rating System, where we physically go through and look at all the roads and evaluate them on a scale of 1 to 10. We come up with a listing of those roads based on those evaluations. Then we apply the methodology, whether it's a traditional milling pave, if it's a sealed coat, if it's fog sealing. This one actually is incorporated with crack sealing. So there's various methods to do, because we're going from roadway preservation to still the mode we're in. Because we're so far behind, we're still preserving roads because we're so far behind. You know, we should be doing about 1.8 million of paving per year to keep up with our schedule, but we're not. And this is sort of the method of making sure our roads don't completely fail, because if they do, to reconstruct them would be astronomical.
Understood. Very good. Thank you for the explanation. So, council, I have a motion and a second on the amendment. So this is, you're going to be voting to vote for the amendment from the 1 to 1.5. Everybody understands what we're voting on, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's an affirmative vote is to approve the amendment. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. John?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
I'm in favor of infrastructure, aye.
The ayes have it. So now, council, we're going to vote on, we have a motion and a second to approve item number 4, which is the resolution to authorize the advertising for the bids.
So move.
Second.
No, there is already a,
We already have one, but we
I'm
have
sorry.
a motion and a second already.
Jump on it, JJ.
I did. I did.
Just hold it till you vote. So now, okay, any more comments on that? Very good. So we have a motion and a second to approve the advertising. Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye
Mr.
twice.
Harvey?
There we go.
Aye.
Ditto.
Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Those two are really in favor of it. So very good. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
They really want it done.
Mr. Little, item number 5, please.
Okay, we're there. Okay, and item number 5, a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for funds with the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County in the amount of $75,000 for the Monroeville Evergreen Park project.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions or comments, council? I'll just make the comment that this is definitely the playground is definitely aging and in disrepair, and hopefully we can have this grant come through and renovate that playground over there in Evergreen Park. So we have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. John?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for funds with the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the Valley Park Bridge project.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments, council?
I think we got a pretty good explanation on Thursday, even pictures and how everything's going to end up being connected. And it's certainly our way to move forward with making that whole process complete. And I think it's good for everybody, so.
Exactly, because we had a study before, and it was actually shared by us and the Westmoreland Heritage Trail individuals. So this is just the next step.
Correct.
And
Keep this
great.
moving forward.
keep it moving forward. So we have a motion and a second to approve. Any other comments, council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our ordinances, council. Mr. Ratcher?
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville repealing ordinance number 2541 and adopting new comprehensive stormwater management provisions for the Municipality of Monroeville pursuant to the Stormwater Management Act 32 PS Section 680.1. This is presently on the table. At the work session, staff asked for an additional month to review it. If you concur with their request, no action is necessary. It stays on the table.
No action.
Is there any action, council?
No, sir.
Number 2.
Question.
I'm sorry?
Can I have a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
What is it?
The
I mean,
stormwater-
I know this has been tabled many
Right,
months,
it's,
and I'm not
we-
familiar to what it is.
We've had.
I hate to vote on something I don't know what it is.
Understand. So we have stormwater management requirements ordinance now. We're required to revise ours to incorporate the new county and state regulations. So we have to take 3 ordinances, sort of combine them into one with the new standards.
So we'll get a draft of it prior to voting on it, correct?
I can give you a copy of it, yes.
No, I mean, when it's finalized,
Yes.
when you're ready to present.
Yes.
So we know what we're
Yes.
voting on. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Very good. So,
Second ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville amending ordinance number 848, regulating parking on East Patty Lane.
So moved.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments, council? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
I guess. Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our reports of municipal staff. Mr. Ratcher, anything this evening?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Mr. Little, please.
Yeah, I have 2 comments. In summer employees, as I mentioned on Thursday in the last month, are due for Public Works, and we need some public people on the Public Works.
How are we
more
doing
than
with the
anything.
applications, Tim, right now?
Yeah,
Are we doing good? They come,
not really, no.
oh, get them in, kids.
We have a lot of ladies, but we need some males to work on Public Works. They're due April the 22nd. Of course, ladies can work on Public Works too if they wish.
Correct, sir.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Save
You want to be politically correct.
Eric was giving, Eric was moving away when.
We had a lady work on Public Works, I mean, a intern, or a summer help. Number 2, PennDOT roadway. PennDOT will be milling and overlaying Route 22 from the Pennsylvania Turnpike interchange to the Westmoreland County line as an FYI. Also, as a comment, there was a discussion about the gasoline that the CVB pays at our last meeting on Thursday. They do pay approximately $2,200 a year for their gasoline. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Mr. Hugus?
No, sir.
Ms. Rock?
Nothing.
We'll move over to our public comments period for public comment on any municipal item, please. We kindly ask for a 5-minute limit. If you can condense your comments to that time frame, that'd be
Okay, well, I'm
great.
submitting probably 60 pages. I don't know if I can wrap that up in 5 minutes.
Do your best. If you
Okay.
state your name for the record, please.
Georgiana Woodhall?
Georgiana, are you signed in?
Yes, I am. I had talked to Mr. Little in reference to a drainage problem that's on my property from PennDOT stormwater system. I had called Linda Gatos in reference to this. I've been trying to deal with it for about a year now. And I'd like to submit this information. And I'm going to read into the record a letter that I received from PennDOT on March the 5th of 2019. One of the things I want to submit is from PennDOT's maintenance manual. It's Chapter 8. It's on drainage and drainage systems. And in there, there's mention of the relationship with the municipalities in that state law from 1945. Mr. Little had suggested that I come before council and ask for an agility agreement, that I ask council to enter into an agility agreement with PennDOT. And I'm not sure how the agility agreement that Mr. Little suggested to me differs from the agility agreement that you already have with PennDOT.
Go on.
So I'd like,
Yeah, you could submit.
I'm going to
If you can, everything you give us or give to Sharon, then it'll all get distributed to council. We'll scan it to everybody, and everyone will have a copy of it then.
Thank you.
And then the letter you're going to read into the record, if you could just get us a copy of that as well, that'd be great.
It's in there.
Okay, thank you.
You know, this same problem occurred 30 years ago. I noticed a sinkhole on the property in 1988. PennDOT came in. They did, if you go into that drainage maintenance manual, they can work outside the right-of-way. That's exactly what they did 30 years ago. And they took care of the catch basin the sinkhole and the cross pipe that leads into a manhole on our property. However, I received this letter, and I'm going to read it into the record. This is from PennDOT Angelo Pampino, Assistant District Executive Maintenance Division. Dear Ms. Woodhull, reference is made to your correspondence concerning a drainage matter associated with your property at 4560 Broadway Boulevard, SR 130, Monroeville, PA. We have determined PennDOT is not responsible for the sinkhole outside of their right-of-way and will not be performing any maintenance or repairs. According to our research, it appears PennDOT's original cross pipe was extended and the original open drainage area filled in by someone other than PennDOT. This was likely done to increase the usable area of the property. The extended portion of the cross pipe is not functioning properly and causing the formation of a sinkhole. PennDOT may have previously made repairs to the extended cross pipe. It is unclear why this was done, but PennDOT was not required to do so. Regardless of PennDOT's prior repairs do not require to do so now. In addition to the extended portion of the cross pipe was not installed by PennDOT, and any maintenance in the responsibility of the party who did so. The location of the sinkhole in the extended cross pipe outside PennDOT's right-of-way also led to the result that PennDOT is not required to perform any work on the sinkhole or extended cross pipe. I'm not quite sure where they did their research. I have nothing to back any of this up. But I can tell you that the cross pipe in front of my home was repaired by PennDOT, and there's a letter that I attached. This is from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, and also on here, one particular line, it says, the Department of Transportation did inform me that they repaired the drainage pipe in front of your client's property. And this is what they said they didn't do in this letter of March the 5th. In addition to that, there's an authorization to enter form to repair that pipe.
What year are those?
Yeah, I was just
This is
gonna
from
say,
the 80s. This is from this is going
March
back to the
5th,
80s, to the original
Wait, so I'm sorry. The letter, the one you just pulled up,
that I just read.
No, the.
That one's from
date?
1988. That's from
March 5th,
1989.
Okay.
This authorization form is when they did the work in February of 1988. They fixed the sinkhole, the pipe, and it's an 18-inch pipe.
Those copies are all in this.
They're all in
record.
there, yeah.
Okay.
October 11th of 1990, there's a letter here from the Municipality of Monroeville. And in there, it specifically states that it lists on here, it says, it is the municipality's opinion that the stormwater collected by this drainage system emanates from a state-owned roadway. The storm source system, catch basins, pipe, and manhole are owned and operated, maintained by the state. PennDOT should assume sole responsibility for maintaining the storm source system, including the open ditch, to avoid damage to the property. In this letter that I read you, where it says that that pipe is not functioning properly, that somebody else filled it in, that's behind the house. That is not in front of my home. That pipe was repaired, and it was at the request of the municipality and PennDOT to the developer across the street, building Haymaker Village. And I can tell you that it is functioning properly because my downspout from my roof goes into that manhole, and that water is exiting, and I have video.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I have video to prove that it's functioning.
Did you do a dye test with it?
No. For my roof, no. No.
Oh, no, go ahead. I wanted to
So,
call-
you know,
I'll call
I could stand here and pick this letter apart, but it seems, if you look at this drainage manual, it really appears that they are going back to this 1945 law. And there's sections in here that I've stapled, that I've kind of dog-eared off.
Well, you've submitted 60 pages of documents to us. I think we're going to need a little bit of time to go through those, but.
Well, I would ask you not to take too much time. I've been
Well,
dealing with
it's
this
lot
for
of-
a year.
I understand that, but
and
we
it's
also want to make sure
destroying
we're
my
doing.
property.
We want to make sure we're doing it the right way as well.
Okay, and I would be more than happy to supply any other
Certainly.
information that you might need, but I need to address this because, as I said, it's destroying my property. My insurance company will not cover it. I've already been told that. They won't cover the sidewalk. They won't cover what's being destroyed, the planters, the sidewalk. And this hole has grown 4 times the size that it was a year ago. It's cracking all around it's going to create, and it already started to create, a hazard on the highway there. So,
I'd like to comment on this a little bit.
Go ahead, Mr. Duncan.
1 minute. I think we need to push back on PennDOT a little bit. You know, if you think of the Northern Pike project, JJ, you might be familiar with, they said those storm lines, it's their road, all of a sudden it's our storm sewer system that we had to replace. I mean, these are their roads, they're supposed to maintain, just like the state does on Route 22. Now, we could take them all over if we want. You know, if we're going to allow them to push us to that point, we do all the intersections now, all the red lights, you know, the sign painting. I mean, how far are we going to allow PennDOT to push us around?
I'd really like to hear from Mr. Ratcher.
And well, no, I'm
I mean,
just, my statement is.
as far as the state
you know,
law
there-
goes.
there- not only you, but there's a lot of residents that are infected that live along state and county roads. I live on a county road.
The only difference, like if you drive onto, on 130, from Coffee Street to the intersection.
I'm actually in favor.
From Coffee Street to the intersection, every one of these catch basins, inlets, whatever you call them, go away from private property. This is the only one that comes onto private property on that road, the only one.
Well, I think they set a precedence. If they repaired it, they set a precedence. Then they should repair it again.
So, council, I mean, I think
Just
it's
my
reasonable-
opinion.
I think it's reasonable to have Mr. Little and staff go over the documents that Ms. Woodhull has submitted. Maybe this is something that we need to set up a meeting with either Representative Markosic or Senator
I've
Brewster.
already, Mr. Markosic, Joe Markosic was at my home last summer with Mike Adams from Public Works, Mike Adams from PennDOT, and we met at my house last summer. And I called Brandon Markosic this last week, and, you know, and I asked him, I said there was some unfinished business when your father retired, and I'd like you to, you know, pick up and check into it if you can. I didn't hear back from him, but I did get this letter from PennDOT then, later that day.
Georgiana, thank you for bringing in all the past documents that we would not have had privy to.
Such as?
The letters that stating where they worked, when they worked.
Yeah, the
as well
only
as,
other
as well
question-
as your current letter. I think that will help a little, you know, at least.
The only other question I have is on this resolution, this agility agreement that you have, that you passed in August, that doesn't expire until August of 2019. It's a 5-year, I have the copy of that in there. It's Resolution 14-37. In this resolution, it has an attachment, Attachment B, and it lists all these different services that the municipality can, I guess, perform for PennDOT. And it is listed in there that any pipe under 36 inches, like what's in front of my house is 18, is something that the municipality could take care of. And my question is it a matter of money and you getting reimbursed for the work that you do? I think that you're in a position, looking at this resolution, you are, in the fact that you still have until August under this agility agreement, that you could take care of this. Is it a matter of money that we're talking about here? And are you apprehensive because of the fact that it is, you have to be
First of all, the
reimbursed?
agility agreement you have there, did you hand that, I mean, because I'm not, I'm assuming what you have,
It's
but I'm not.
14-37, and your signature's on it, so I know there's hundreds of things that go over your desk, and,
We have that document.
but
That's-
yeah,
that's
it's
from-
here.
is Mr.
There's a copy of it, and it's
It has to
14-37.
do with what Mr. Duncan was just talking about, the Northern Pike project.
Pardon me?
I think that has to do with the Northern Pike project, probably.
It doesn't say anything about Northern Pike on here, that
Well, I
can.
think this
That
is
was the
something
Genesis.
also that the new MS4 committee can look into. Am I correct?
That's a good point.
Because it's a
But
stormwater
honestly,
issue,
I can't wait for the MS4. You know, I've got a lot of property damage,
so be it.
you know, and, but it says
I mean-
nothing about,
We have
as
to
I
find out
said.
who's legally responsible for that storm.
And the way.
Absolutely.
There's a
But
lot of
my point
there's a
is
lot of
to
liability
tell the state to
involved.
quit pushing us around so much.
Okay, give them a
You know,
call.
I mean, they used to maintain their storm sewer
Yes.
systems, the county used to, now they're putting it all on us.
We are,
So,
Steve,
and
we
our
are looking,
taxpayers.
we are looking into that,
Yes.
and we're gonna have several meetings on that issue.
I probably won't be invited to sit in on those, but I'd like to if I could.
Steve, you are more than welcome to.
What is it, do you have to ask for? I mean, this is, your agility agreement, according to this, is up in August of 2019.
Again, if you're
And-
talking about, let me see the document.
Okay, it's over
I
there.
don't wanna
have to have
comment
my-
on something
I have
that
to
I don't
have
know
my
what I'm
copy
commenting
back.
on.
I have to have my copy back.
That wouldn't be just, we can go out and do whatever we want, I'll charge them.
It lists all the services that you, I'm assuming that you could perform. And if you need me to come back, and if it is my position as a resident to ask for a supplemental agreement for you to do this work, I would be more than willing to do that.
Wouldn't we not have to have an agreement from PennDOT as far as in even trade out for that exact project? If indeed. it would
According
be
to
something-
that, according to the agility agreement and what I looked at, you have an agility agreement that's good for 5 years. But if, for every project, you would have to come before council to
Right,
have it
which
approved.
that would not-
Under what he's looking at right
Right,
now.
so that-
And I'm not an attorney, but Mr. Ratcher, I'm sure could
Well, this
answer
is,
that.
I mean, we certainly have some direction here. We have a lot of documentation that you've handed in. There's not going to be any councilmatic decision-making tonight on it, action
No.
on it, but I think it's reasonable if we can get some direction between
But
now and next
I-
month's meeting, and maybe council, we can have some direction for what we're going to do here, what we can do.
And what
Council
I
think
just
that's
wanted,
reasonable?
one other thing that I just want to bring up is this work that was done on the back of the house, as I said, on the back area of the house.
In 1988. Is that what you're referring to?
The
The work that was done in 1988?
It was in the late 80s, yeah. That, it was my understanding, was approved by the municipality.
I wasn't here.
I know. So whatever you can do, and I'm not sure, this letter is very misleading. I don't know where they did their research, but I could pick it apart, stand here and pick it apart. And, you know, my backyard, you can go down there, and the fact that there's no open ditch any longer, and there's water coming out of the pipe, it is functioning.
Okay, I just for Georgianne's answer her question, and also for the sake of council, that is the agility agreement, because, for Northern Pike.
Okay.
And
Does it say for Northern Pike on here?
It doesn't say, but there's a number on there that would refer to that at PennDOT. It's for the Northern Pike project. It is the only agility agreement we have other than plowing PennDOT's roads, and we have an agility agreement for that. So we only have 2 agility agreements with PennDOT. We have one, it's not called an agility agreement, with the county to plow their roads. And an agility agreement is, you do something for us,
Right.
we'll do something for you. All right, and as you and I talked on the phone, Georgianne, the question is, there's 2 aspects with an agility agreement with what your project is. First, it's a very small project, first of all, but that's kind of a minor issue. But as this whole thing going back to the 1945 law, PennDOT would, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for PennDOT, but you would think they would come back because they're espousing that, hey, boroughs in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, this is now your responsibility. So if we would go to them and say, hey, we want to enter into an agility agreement to fix Ms. Woodhall's front, they would say to us, that's your responsibility anyway.
Okay, so what you're telling me is it's your responsibility to
Well,
fix it.
exactly, and as I told you on the phone today, and I can appreciate how you feel you're getting a runaround. You feel you're caught in between here of, hey, PennDOT or the municipality, somebody should fix this because it's within a right-of-way. And I feel for you on that, but that's where we are right now.
Okay, so what are you suggesting I do?
Well, I suggested to you on the phone this afternoon what you should do. You know, for the sake of your home, if your home is being encroached upon by stormwater.
And the highway also.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the public safety issue here as well, you know. Okay, well, when can I expect to hear from you? Because I will really start moving on this again tomorrow.
Well, I can review the documents, but I'm going to have to confer with Mr. Ratcher because this is a
Absolutely.
legal issue, you know. And we do have meetings that, they're not scheduled yet, but we're in the process of scheduling meetings with representatives from PennDOT on this very issue. Now, you got two different issues going on here. You got the pipe that's behind your house that PennDOT says is clogged or collapsed, whatever the case might be. And they're saying that's impeding the drainage in the front of your house. All right, and then you have the issue of in front of your house, PennDOT saying, well, that's now your responsibility, Monroeville, and we're saying, well, no, it isn't. So you got two different issues going on here.
Okay, and the other issue, the other thing that I have to find out and get cleared up is when they were building the shopping center, PennDOT issued a highway occupancy permit, which I have a copy of. And before that was issued, but it is reflected in that document, that inlet that is directly across from the deteriorating one in front of my house tied into the one on our property, on that side of the road. And in the highway occupancy permit that PennDOT issued, it stated that the intent of the developer then, when they were building the plaza, was to put a new inlet in, but to divert the water into their system and in the other direction. And I don't have any way of confirming whether or not that was done. I did come up and go through the folder and look through it, but I don't see any, I don't know if that in fact happened. So, thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Georgianne.
Thank you.
I'll leave the floor open for public comment on any municipal item. Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting, and we're going to move over to our council reports, please. Mrs. Gatos.
Yes, I'd like to start out with, I forgot on Thursday to, it's not been very long as far as the Hunter family would feel, but condolences to Jimmy Hunter, who is our Monroeville Municipal Authority manager, and his family on the loss of his father. That was a great loss. My brother and him were very good friends, Jimmy, and I just want to give my deepest condolences to his family. And also, of course, Mr. Wilson, please get better. We miss you. And lastly, I'm guessing Mr. Little was probably going to talk about this, but we were again given the community recognition from Allegheny County for being a banner community, for all that we do. And I want to thank all the people in the municipality that participated in getting us this. This is how many years in a row now, Mr. Little?
3.
3 years in a row. And this is something to be very proud of, because before this, we weren't part of this banner community, and everybody's worked very hard to make us part of it and bring us up to that standard. So I thank you, everyone up here that has done that. And that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Poach.
Nothing substantial this evening, Your Honor.
Mr. Harvey.
Yes, I wanted to make council aware, and I don't ultimately know where this is going to go. Mr. Ratcher's aware of it. Joe, could you put that picture up, if you have it? Okay, that's the entrance to Lorraine Drive off of Center Road. The paved area that you see going up to the left is a driveway that ultimately goes up to the water tanks, right there. It goes up, and that's how the Water Authority accesses their property up there. Currently, they're having a problem because there are 2 houses on that road, that drive right there. The first one you see on your right actually fronts Lorraine Drive. The one behind it fronts that private road. The resident on the top house parks in front of the gates and the Water Authority can't get in there to access their property to get their supplies. So the request was made that we possibly post that no parking. So far in Mr. Ratcher's research, we don't own it. So it's like a private right-of-way. And I don't know why he parks there, but he does. And sometimes they can get him to move his car, and sometimes I guess he's not home. So my intention tonight was, if we had the power to do so, was to post it no parking, but we don't apparently. Mr. Ratcher says he has just a little more research in it. Let's put it this way, the deed to the property that he showed me goes back to when we were called Old Patton Township. And this looks like it is going to fall back on the municipal authorities' right to that access. But I wanted to bring you all up to date and tell you that that's going on.
Mr. Harvey, the municipal authority can then post it as no parking.
Bob, you can.
Well, it appears that that's what the situation will be, as I indicated, and I just got this afternoon. There's one more document I want to look at that was not an online document, so I have to have somebody retrieve it from the courthouse for me. I believe the situation is going to be, and I'll just reserve the idea that it could be a little bit different after I look at that document, although I don't think it will be, that it's a private right-of-way. So it will actually be a private property matter between the entities that are involved. The fact that the municipal authority is a public authority doesn't make that a public road or right-of-way. So the issue will be whether or not they have to enforce it the same way one would enforce a parking problem on private property, or whether it can be enforced otherwise. I think it's going to end up being private property. It will have to be enforced that way. There are remedies, though. They have a right to get in and out of there from what I can see, and I'll be able to confirm that when I look at the other document. From there, I think they can assert their rights.
The person that lived there could not get to their house.
Yeah.
I have to ask the question, who paved it? It looks freshly paved.
We paved,
The water authority paved it,
No.
and it's their baby.
excuse me,
And we should be able to,
when we paved Lorraine Drive last year, we paved it, I talked to the authority because they access to the water tank.
Right.
We paved it to give them better access to there. So it was part of our program last year to help them out.
The water authority.
Yes.
Yeah, when they paved Lorraine Drive.
Yes, correct.
so if we paved it, wouldn't we have the authority to put no parking signs up?
No.
No, but the water authority might, and we
So
should
we're
know
not
that.
taking ownership of it, okay.
Right.
But we paved it.
We
with
did.
taxpayers' dollars.
We did.
Okay.
All right, last but not least, I would like to make a motion for a short but important executive session with, meeting with council in the council chambers here with Chief Cole for public safety reasons.
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second for that.
Question,
Harvey, could
Mr.
I-
Mayor, can we finish our report
That's what I was going
first?
to ask Mr.
Yeah.
Harvey. Mr. Harvey, do you mind if we finish our reports as council members?
Oh, no, that's, okay. In fact, I just thought that's when I was supposed to do it.
Okay. So council, yes, so we have a motion, a second to adjourn for executive session shortly, but we'll finish our reports and then go from there.
In favor?
Thank you.
Are we all supposed to say in favor of?
Vote.
I can do that. I'll do it now. I'll do it now. I was going to do it at the end, but I'll do it now. It doesn't matter, Mr. Ratcher, right?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, and I'll announce that again in a few minutes here. Mr. Harvey, anything else?
No.
Mr. Johns?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to take a couple minutes and follow up a little bit on Mr. Little had mentioned. You know, other than sitting up here for a little over 7 years as a councilman of the Fourth Ward, I'm on several boards, both in Monroeville and other places, and I am the council rep for the Convention Visitors Bureau, and I would just like the folks out there to understand something. Sean Logan and the Convention Visitors Bureau Board of folks at last month's meeting suggested that they donate their van to whomever. Sean Logan came to me and asked me if I knew anyone that might be able to use it in the municipality. I suggested the senior center. They have a rather large bus, and I thought this van would come in very handy, which they have done so, and it is going to work out fine for those folks. On the other side of that coin, not Sean, not the board, no one but myself come up with this idea that I thought it might be nice for the municipality, the senior center, whoever the powers it may be, to possibly donate a little bit of fuel, some dollar numbers, not money, fuel, to the folks at the vehicles at the Convention Visitors Bureau, because they buy their fuel through the municipality. Unfortunately, some of the numbers got mixed up on the meeting a week ago or whenever it was, And the Convention Visitors Bureau has had many phone calls from residents concerned about it, and I want everybody to understand, nobody did it but me. It was nothing to do except to be a nice guy, and I thought it was something that made a lot of sense. And since then, Sean has told me personally, just drop the whole matter. He didn't want it to begin with. It was me that did it. So if you folks out there think there was something done wrong, please call me, because I'm the guy that did it, even though I don't think I did anything wrong. Other than that, there's a few things going on at the Convention Center. Westpac's Job Fair, Wednesday the 13th of March, Direct Sales Expo, 16th and 17th of March, Pittsburgh Arts and Craft, the 22nd through the 24th, Camp Coins and More, Friday, March 22nd through Sunday the 24th, the Education Job Fair, March 27th, Showbiz National Talent Competition, Friday, March 29th through the 31st, Mind Body Healing Expo, Saturday the 30th and Sunday the 31st, and with that, I am done.
Thank you, Mr. Johns. Mr. Arasinko.
Yeah, I do have a few things I need to say, and I'll be very quick about it. To the Hunter family as well, I do send condolences. And I'm not sure, I know some folks here in the audience will remember Jimmy Silvetti. He passed a couple weeks ago. He was the gentleman that was retired police officer, but he had the big boxing group that took care of a lot of kids that could have been in trouble.
Is that the Golden Gloves?
Yes. Golden Glove, yes. Jimmy passed a couple of weeks ago. They're going to have a memorial service coming up. The date has not been set, so for anybody that knows Jimmy, he was a hell of a good guy. Gave his heart and soul to kids that could have been in trouble, that were underprivileged. He was just a great guy. Couple of things, just to remind everybody, I apologize for missing last Thursday. I was at the Allegheny County Bros Association meeting, and I'm sure some of you, maybe a lot of you don't know, I currently sit as the president. I can't really miss that. Couple of things on the agenda that I think that are of interest for not just council here, but everybody in Monroeville. And that has to do with, we're putting a big push on for advertising, as right now it still has to go to the papers, which is extremely expensive. We're trying to get it to where we can use it online for each of the municipalities that are on that. That will save thousands of dollars a year, and hopefully we'll make some headway on that. Bob Dadato of North Fayette brought this concern forward to the state. We're going to follow up on our Seven Springs conference on that as well. And Ron, I know, and Doug sitting out here too, radar is still an issue. There are two new bills that have been put out. The one that I think stands the best one to pass is Representative Courts, from the West Mifflin area, has put one out that maybe stands a good chance of passing. So we're crossing our fingers and our toes on that. Hopefully that goes through. The other thing is that on March 6th, we had a meeting, and I want to thank our mayor for attending that as well, with the county exec, Rich Fitzgerald. We had about 15 other mayors and several councilmen there. We discussed everything from infrastructure to regionalization to a whole host of problems. The county exec is very much in favor of continuing that. That was just the mayors and council out here in the east of the county. I intend on doing that throughout the county with the county exec, but the good news is he's just contacted me. We're trying to set up another meeting just to talk about regionalization out here in the east with some of the police departments that are already talking to each other about that. So hopefully that'll come together soon. I'll inform council. You're certainly all welcome to attend, and I hope that you do. And last but not least, I'm setting up a meeting with, again, with the Allegheny County Borough Association. For those who've been around a long time, you all remember we used to do the district meetings. we are District 2, part of the Bars Association. I will be conducting all 3 of them. And our next one here, I'm hoping to do in late April. So we'll keep you abreast on that. And with that, I thank you for your time.
Very good, Mr. Arasenko. Nice work with all that. Mr. Duncan.
All I have is happy St. Patrick's Day, and
Oh, yeah.
Tomcat, my colleague, I hope you feel better. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you. And I just want to wish a happy retirement to Michelle Fenwick. Michelle, she retired a little bit ago. However, there was a retirement party for her last week, so I just want to wish her the best, and her and Alan and enjoy getting out of here. So I wish them the best. Cleanup Day, our 24th annual Jack Sedlak Memorial Cleanup Day. You can register to beautify your neighborhood, park, school, house of worship, or roadway. Tired of litter-strewn streets? You want a cleaner community to live and work in and play? You want to know how to help? You join the Municipality of Monroeville, your neighbors, family, and friends for Cleanup Day. It is on Saturday, April 27th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You select a roadway, park, or neighborhood, wage your own war on litter. Got a nice picture there. Mr. Johns was climbing up Northern Pike Hill last year, I think. That's why he has that vest on.
I am. And can I interrupt
Go ahead,
just for
yeah.
a second? Considering this is going to be my 8th, just so everybody hears me, 8th time walking down and back up Northern Pike Hill, along with Doug Cole and a bunch of other folks out there. And by the way, I think 4 other times, because we used to do it twice a year. And if you look at that picture, I've been here through several council people. I don't see anybody else's picture in there. My point is,
I'm right beside you there, Mr. Johns.
yeah, you just stopped by to drop off a T-shirt.
That's not what the photo says. That's not what the photo says.
Okay, I'm
Group
done. I'm
group of
sorry.
people there.
No, yeah, Mr. Johns, he does a good job over there in Northern Pike Hill. He actually has some good volunteers there, too. That is quite the hillside. So at any rate, please, come up and fill out the registration form. You can get to the Recreation Department, or anyone on council can forward you the form to fill out, and please sign up. And I believe everyone gets a T-shirt that signs up, and we have that logo for this year.
There it is.
That's the unveiling of the
There we go.
logo.
I'll tell you.
24th annual.
Everyone likes superheroes.
Everyone likes it. That's
right.
right.
There
Can't wait to
Strike
wear
one
that
back.
one, I'll tell you that.
That's
But it's
good.
great. Mr. Sedlak, you always do a great job. You and your brother do a great job putting this event together, so
They should have replaced that cartoon with Jimmy Jones.
there you go. We'll get
You're
some
a
pictures
funny
of that.
guy.
Great. So cleanup day. And then Mr. Wilson's not here this evening. He is the liaison for the senior center. I'm going to do a little bit of his work here this evening. So Tom, hurry up and get back here so I don't have to do this stuff. But at any rate, we have a senior center. They have a big event coming up. They have a fundraiser, Takeout Tuesdays. Let us do the cooking. You work too hard. So what happens is that you order a meal. You place your orders in advance. It's $8 per meal, and it supports the senior center. Starting in March of 19, you enjoy a home-cooked dinner each month prepared by the Monroeville Senior Center staff and volunteers. The meal is hot and ready to serve. Takeout Tuesday will be held the third Tuesday of each month. The menu will be posted, and tickets will go on sale a month prior to the deadline date. This fundraiser is open to anyone. You don't need to be a member of the center to purchase a meal. Spread the news and help raise money for this great community asset. The deadline for this month is Friday, March 15th. And the March menu is homemade meatloaf with gravy, served with mashed potatoes, green beans, and a dinner roll, once again for $8. So you can stop by the Monroeville Senior Center and buy a ticket, and you can cook for your family that evening.
Cook.
So,
Serve.
exactly. So that is for the Senior Center, and any questions, you can contact the Senior Center. You can also view their latest newsletter on the website, the municipal website. Hard copies are also available of the newsletter and these flyers at the Senior Center, at the municipal building here, and also at the library. Also, you can be in touch with the Senior Center on their Facebook page, which keeps you up to date on all the newest activities and programs there at the Senior Center and these type of events. So there are a lot of great things going on at the Senior Center, and this community's lucky to have it. It's an asset, a tremendous asset for our community. So we already have a motion and a second to conduct an executive session. We're not going to adjourn to one, so what we're going to do, though, we're going to go to an executive session. There will be no more legislative action taken this evening, so any legislative action coming out of this executive session won't be taken until the April 9th regular council meeting. So we have our motion, our second. So we're going to adjourn for the executive session, and thank you and good night.